Matt, come on in, please. Your reaction, first of all.
Well, it's a big, big step in this process, especially to get a Democrat. To get Joe Manchin to actually vote for Brett Kavanaugh is a big, big step, because that'll give cover to a couple of other Democrats who are still not public in their position. But, Stuart, the most important thing to remember in this vote, this really is not a test vote. It's different. Sometimes they'll run a vote in the Senate to see how the final will go. There's still 5 or 6 members who could switch their position between this vote and the next vote. So all this really does is get us into extra innings to finally figure out where they will be tomorrow on confirmation.
Would you expect to see some of those senators, Democrats from Trump voting states, would you expect them tomorrow to vote yes?
I think I really think there's a real chance. I think Joe Manchin knew that if he didn't vote for Brett Kavanaugh, that he has a really good chance of losing in West Virginia. I think he still has a really good chance. But people like Joe Donnelly in Indiana and Mr. Tester from Montana, they are seeing their leads evaporate in these races. And a lot of it is because Republican voters, Trump voters, and conservative voters are saying, this is a test. Are you really with the Trump agenda or are you not? So look for more Democrats. You know, this is painful for people who don't know what they think, Stuart. They're talking right now, what can I get away with? Can I vote with Chuck Schumer, or can I do what my constituents want me to do and vote for Brett Kavanaugh?
Joe Manchin may have just given those reluctant supporters of Kavanaugh amongst the Democrats, he may have given them some cover so that they come out from their cover tomorrow. I'm not looking at this positively or negatively one way or the other, but it seems that's the way the voting takes place. That's
exactly right. Look, Joe Manchin is the quintessential candidate. He's got so many things going for him. And people say, look, if Joe Manchin knows that he's in trouble in West Virginia because of the potential that he would oppose Brett Kavanaugh, what's it like for these other Democrats who don't have quite the stature of Joe Manchin? So I think they're looking at their own situation and saying, look, I might want to vote against him because I'm a liberal, but I play a moderate when I come and represent a state like Indiana or Montana. These states were big for Trump, as you said, Stuart. If they vote against Brett Kavanaugh, they're essentially saying they don't really want to come back to Washington. And so the stakes couldn't be higher.
In terms of fundraising, it seems that the Kavanaugh issue is pulling money into the GOP's coffers. I want to just read you this tweet. I know you've seen this, but I'm going to read this for our viewers. Thanks to our great supporters who want to see Judge Kavanaugh confirmed, the RNC had its largest fundraising day in history last Sunday. Could it be that the Democrat strategy throughout this is backfiring here?
It's absolutely backfiring. You know, the one thing I'm looking at, Stuart, is not only this vote about whether Brett Kavanaugh gets confirmed to the Supreme Court, and I'm still confident he will, but whether or not voters out there across the country who are on the right can match the intensity of all these people that are so fired up and they're Trump haters on the left. And what all the polls are showing is that the intensity and the energy is really surging with conservatives, with Trump supporters. And then when you get excited about an election, you start to write checks and you start to get active.
But conservatives don't get in the face of their political opponents. They don't do that. The left does that. The left is provocative. The left is provoking violence here. And I expect to see a lot of it this weekend. How about you?
You know, Stuart, I'm kind of disgusted that the Supreme Court is being talked about within the election context. But you're being honest and I'm being honest. It is because of what the left has done. They make everything political. They've made everything about the Supreme Court political. And here's the thing. I oppose, and a lot of Republicans oppose, a lot of these Democratic appointments. They destroy our appointments. There's one thing to have a political difference. It's another thing to try to go on a search and destroy mission to ruin a man's life. That's what they have done with Brett Kavanaugh, and the American people aren't going to stand for it.
Ruin a man, his career, his wife, and his family, too. Let's not forget that. Matt Schlapp, thank you very much indeed, sir. See you again soon.